Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, thank you for a beautiful day in Fannin County. Father, I ask that you be with us in this meeting, be with our three commissioners and all the people here. And Father, as I always ask, just help us all to work together for the betterment of Fannin County. And I pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. First item on the agenda, number 2, old business, to approve the minutes of our June 27th meetings. I've read them. Please let me know when you've had time and approved. Okay, can you make a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Minutes are approved. Sir. Okay, public commentary. 30 minutes maximum for the whole commentary. What we would ask is each person, if you want to speak, raise your hand, come up to the microphone, state your name and where you live in the county, and keep your comments to 3 minutes maximum, please. Who would like to be first? Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
My name is Bill Odendahl. I live at 184 Cherokee Trail. We understand that you'll be giving a review to the county road system this month. And so I'm here to ask that our little Cherokee Trail stub off of Cherokee Lane be given consideration to be moved onto the county maintenance list. It's been a county road since the subdivision was platted in the 1980s, but has not been on the maintenance list. And that is our request. I've got a brief letter that I can leave with you with signatures from residents.
Okay.
Fannin.
Yes, sir. Would you mind spelling your last name, please?
That's Odendahl.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who would like to be next, please? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Carolyn Massey. I live at...
Can you speak into the microphone and pull it down a little bit?
Okay.
Thank you,
My
ma'am.
name is Carolyn Massey, M-A-S-S-E-Y, and I live at 155 Trails End, Epworth, Georgia, 30541. Okay, and I would like to request that Trails End in Epworth be put back on the county road maintained list as it was taken off this year. We were never officially notified that this had been done, and the road is only about a half mile or less long. And the county has maintained this road for over 40 years. And what they do, they scrape, put rock on it, and the sides of the road cut. And this is done only once a year, and nobody's complained about it. And the traffic on the road includes UPS, FedEx, Postal Service, garbage service. And since it is down beside Lebanon Cemetery, the funeral home, people also use the road to transport bodies to the cemetery. And right now, the road is getting bad with all the rain, and it's beginning to wash out, making it like a road board in some places. And also, the sides of the road has weeds growing tall and falling in the roadway. So I would like to request, this would be my request.
Okay, Ms. Massey, thank you very much. Who would like to be next? Ken? Ken, would you check that microphone, see if it's on, please? It's on now.
Ken Williams, 88 Meadow Lane, Blue Ridge. I would like to request that the current administration reconsider their decision to discontinue replacing the convex mirrors at intersections. At the intersection of Meadow and Scenic, one was taken out by an accident about a month ago. According to the road department, y'all have decided to discontinue replacing those. And really, it's a matter of public safety that we continue to have those, because there are some pretty bad curves, as you well know, on a lot of these roads. I know the teenagers have a heyday with them, breaking them as they drive by, but it's very important. I've lived there for over 7 years, and these mirrors have been there ever since and before, and now they're not being replaced according to the road department by a decision this administration made. So I would just like to request that these be put back into being replaced by the county.
Okay. Ken, do we have a phone number to get back with you and give you a little more information later about why we made that decision?
706.
I mean, you don't have to do it out loud unless, you know.
Nobody's
going to call him, right?
My phone number's out there to the public all over the place already anyway.
Well, we know where to find you on bingo night. If
Definitely. 706-455-0998.
0998.
Correct.
Okay. I didn't think you'd mind me putting a little plug in for the Kiwanis on bingo.
Not at all. No.
Okay.
2 more nights. Come on out.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Who would like to be next? Anyone? Mr. Webb.
I'm Joe Webb. I live in Dial, 58 Doublehead Gap Road. I'd like to first say that 515 is very inconvenient. I'm giving up 24 hours of volunteering a year to be here earlier. I think Commissioner Johnson's probably given up 24 hours of paying work to be here at 515. That said, I hope we can look at getting backwards on that. Last couple of meetings, I've given us some examples from other organizations, the Boy Scouts, the theater, as to how we might maybe look at government rules and opening up government a little bit more. This week, I'd like to go with St. Luke's Episcopal Church. They're doing a planning session where they're actually asking everybody to come in and get everything on the table and have literally a written plan for the church for everything. And again, it's a fairly broad issue. I noticed there was a question in the recent weeks of why there are only a few people, perhaps, that come to these meetings. And maybe it's a rhetorical question, but my question might be better, why should those of us who come to these meetings come to these meetings? There's no information provided. If you're interested in a $4,500 check, they seem to disappear from the agenda. If there's a motion from the board, it isn't necessarily implemented and doesn't come back in old business. There are budget amendments without clarification. There are many things as far as information, plans, and dialogue that simply aren't here. And the bigger question is, why can't we simply, as the public, have the same information you gentlemen have at the beginning of the meeting? Why can't we have that information on the table outside? Why can't we have all this stuff open and available to us? So if we do come here, we have enough information to understand what's going on. And that we don't have to look at things that say, don't misconstrue, don't do this, don't do that. Because we fully well know that the rules are mostly made up and what we want them to be. Otherwise, we'd go ahead and publish a single document charter and get on with following our rules. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to be next? Anyone else? Anyone else? Public commentary is closed. Just a note, several of you folks have mentioned about roads, and what our plan is, the next meeting, July 25th, we will have on the agenda to either vote for or remove or not vote at all on the county roads, but it will be on the July 25th agenda. Okay? All right, new business, variance request. And as I bring these requests up, if you represent someone supporting this, just raise your hand. If you're against it, raise your hand and we'll try to fit that in. But our first request is for Timothy P. and Jeannie L. May. And this is a 235 Chickadee Drive. And this is to build a garage 30 feet from the edge of Chickadee Drive in the Phoenix Heights subdivision. I have been out there and looked at this one myself. I have no problem with it. Is there anyone here that opposes that variance request? What do you gentlemen say about that?
I appreciate it. I ain't got a problem with it when I look at it.
Okay.
I have a favorable opinion.
You have to think. You're becoming quite eloquent here these days. Is it because your son's here and you want him to say that?
No, I've been in the sun too long today.
Okay. We'll hurry through then. All right, I'll make a motion. We approve that variance. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Motion for the variance is approved. Okay. The next variance request is for Beaslebow LLC, and this is to place, now, Keith, I think you may have to help me on this one. Is there anyone here that's supporting the Beaslebow LLC variance? Is there anyone here that's opposing it? And there's a little confusion I have here. It's to place to place 5 feet from an adjacent property line, as per the covenants and restrictions. And we don't have a letter per the county attorney because there is no next door neighbor. Keith, can you tell us a little bit about this request?
This is in the McCallico subdivision, and they already have provisions in their subdivision covenants that you can build within 5 feet of the line. The builder himself, he's requesting the 5 feet just for clarification from the county that nothing will ever become a problem later on. He will probably try to maintain about 10 feet from the line just for extra.
Probably or will? I mean, how firm is that? Do we know?
I'd say it's probably about 75%. Once you start building for somebody,
Right.
they love to change plans for some reason.
Right. Okay. I have not been out. I haven't had the opportunity to look at this one yet. How do you gentlemen feel about it?
I will say one more thing. There was previously a house here that had burnt, and this house will be rebuilt on the same lot.
On the same lot? Okay. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
I guess it will be built. I mean, that's what I was supposed to say when Keith chimed in. That's if it's a burnt house, and it looked like it's gonna put it right back where the house was burned.
Okay.
So there was already a home 5 feet from the property line?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if they cover that in their covenants and restrictions, why do we have to get involved?
It's just formality to make sure that way nothing could ever be said in the future. It'll be filed with their deed.
Okay.
Okay.
So as a formality, I'd like to record in the minutes that I'm still opposed to anyone building 5 feet from the property line, as I was 2 months ago. But if this house is going right back where it should be, I just think 5 feet's too close. I don't care where you're at, but that's just my opinion.
How many homes are in this subdivision already there, Keith?
Probably 100.
100? So quite a few, there are there already a number of them that close to property
Yes.
lines? They are. So we're not opening up a keg of worms here in that subdivision to do that?
No.
Okay. Well, I agree with Commissioner Johnson. I'm not comfortable with doing that as a county overall, but if they've already been doing this for a number of years, and I mean, we typically, 10 feet is about as much as we typically would do next to a home. Has that been your history? But in this case, do I hear a motion to approve the variance for Beasleboro? And we have no one in here then that's opposed to this? I don't see any hands, so I don't see any objections to it. Do I hear a motion that we approve this variance?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Variance for Beasleboro is approved. All right. The last variance we have is for Mr. John Graves, and this is to place a garage 44 feet from the edge of Black Gum Lane at the point where the garage touches the house, 34 feet from the center of the garage to the edge of the road, and 17 feet from the edge of the road at the closest corner. As Mr. Graves is not here tonight, folks that are opposed, can you raise your hand to that? Okay. All right. This is one that I have looked at several times, and I personally feel it's a safety issue. I don't think it's safe to have that where it is, and I do not believe that this variance was approved before work started. Is that correct, Keith?
Correct.
Okay, so we have someone who started work without getting a variance.
Yes, sir.
All right.
There was also a variance request about this time last year that was denied.
Okay. All right.
Is this the same one where the bank had been dug off and we asked him to replace it? And I don't
Yes,
think
sir.
ever was
He
replaced.
has never replaced
Yes.
it. No work has been done.
That's correct, yes, sir.
So he never replaced what was asked to be. That was done before he even applied for the variance, correct?
Yeah, he went in.
The same situation as last year is what I'm asking.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I've been out there several times and looked at this, and I will make a motion that we not approve this variance. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Been
All in
on that
favor?
one for a while.
Do we have any further discussion?
Yeah, there's further. Is there any way, I mean, since the guy's not replacing what we asked him to replace, is there any way we can find out from the county attorney what we need to do to make
Yes.
it? Because, I mean, this has been almost a year ago.
Yes.
This came up.
Yes, it's in the magistrate court,
Oh, it
and
is?
it's in process right now. I'm sorry I didn't,
So that's the only stipulation I'd have. Not only do we deny this request, but insist on what we asked before.
yes, it's
Where it's been replaced.
it's in the magistrate court, and it's under judgment, as I understand right now.
He's already in contempt of what,
Okay, we
that.
We got you.
They're good.
Okay, now, I'm going to ask this again since I had the motion asked for discussion. Hear the motion to deny this. I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I have none.
All in favor of disapproving this variance? Motion is, variance is denied. Okay, department head reports. Ms. Woody, Land Development, what do you have to say for us tonight? I'm sorry, all you new folks showing up here tonight thinking this was exciting. As much as told you, it's pretty boring. But we do the best we can.
Marie Woody Land Development. Last meeting I told you I would have a price for the condemnation of the 188 Riverside Lane. I've only had one price for the removal of that. It's $7,500. And a copy is attached for your review.
So you only had one bid on that?
One person responded. I sent it out to 6 people.
Okay.
You ever find out the address on the Mobile section where the condemnation was? On the Mobile area, you said you had one more condemnation over there. You didn't have an address on it. You have it now?
It was the mobile home.
Just one that they've already torn down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had 3 new reports on condemnations in the last probably week. 2 or possibly 3 may have people living in them, and those are still under investigation, and the investigation has not been.
Okay.
Refresh my memory on this one.
This is the one that y'all condemned
Yeah.
May 25th
Okay.
or
All right.
June
All right.
24th or whatever the date was. So we sent out information for them to give us a price. It was May 25th. We only have the one price.
Okay. So you need us to give you a decision on the tearing down?
If that's what you are prepared to do. I don't know if you've had enough time to review it and all that stuff.
Well, I'm ready to move forward with it. Do you commissioners have any other comments on the tear down removal of 188 Riverside? Okay.
I do have a little side note that I want to make a comment on. I've had someone come in to say that their septic might be a questionable issue with this. So we do need to find out where the neighbor's septic system is and make sure we're not going to be getting on it.
Okay, I would suggest that we have that nailed down before we even vote on doing that.
All right.
So if we can move this forward to the next meeting, and hopefully we'll have an answer on that in 2 weeks.
Okay. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Then your building permits, how does that stack up June compared to June 2016?
It's about right in line with June of 2016. And this month, we've only had 2 new homes. So we're at the 10th or 11th of July, and we've only had 2 new homes this month.
Okay.
Okay, also I've attached the application for the scrap tire grant. And I have some questions for the commissioners. What time or what week would y'all like to have this done? What month would y'all like to have this done in?
What, if you don't mind, let me address this. This is a one-time fix, not a long-term solution. And you have a 1-day, 1-week pickup. Does this grant stipulate that we have to do this in 1 day or 1 week, or can we get a grant and we can run it out over a period of a year, 6 months, whatever it takes?
According to the grant, we need to place the date of the event. We need to estimate the amount of scrap tires to be collected and estimate the cost. I have estimated, without knowing how many tires they are throughout the county, I've estimated that maybe 6,000. My thoughts was to have it maybe in the month of October. So we can say October, we can say November, we can say whatever month the commissioners want it to be. And I've said that the storage location possibly could be the road department, but we'll need someone to fill out the document that I've attached on the back, the names, the addresses, the location, and the number of tires that's being brought in per customer. We had to send that report in before when I did the tire grant. And EPD also noted that we need to limit the number of tires that we're receiving per day per customer to 10, and that we are not to take any from commercial or private tire companies, which we all know that. And, you know, if y'all need more time to work out the logistics on the dates, we can do that too.
Well, we're gonna have to, who you got in plans of hauling these tires?
Well, I have talked to one tire company in the county, and they do have transportation license to haul.
I have talked to one as well, and he's willing to pick up, on a long-term basis for us as well.
Okay, I don't know if we can do the grant on a long-term basis, but I would glad to call back and talk to
We
the
can do,
deal.
if we cannot do this, see what the stipulations are on the grant. We can do the grant in a weekly process, but this is gonna have to be a long-term situation, and we can call back then and, we can talk about, what we can do in the long run of it.
We can do 2 grants a year. We can write as many grants as we want, you know.
But
I
are
mean,
we
I don't
eligible to
think-
get them when we write them?
I don't know how many you will be
We
able
able
to
to
get
get.
per year.
So, but, you know, like I say, this fixes it for right now, but the long-term solution of it, we're gonna have to do kinda like Tennessee, we're gonna have to have some kind of solution for these people to get rid of them. Over there, the residents can do away with 4 tires, one resident can do away with 4 tires a month. And, you know, that's not too much of a strain and, on, the county to, take care of it. So, if the other 2 commissioners want to go along with you know, if we can, get this grant down, and we can go ahead and have that. But, after that, we need to, Zach and I have already talked about that, about where they can be delivered and what we can do, and also Adam Mercer, I spoke with Adam on this situation. He will do a contract for the county the same as he does with that tires for the county. And, so, if, the other 2 commissioners are willing to go along with, going ahead and getting the grant and doing a week, probably a week, is that what you're talking about, a full week?
Well, we can do it for a week, or you could do it for a month. You can say beginning October 1st through October 30th. There's not, it doesn't have to be a week. They just need a date when we're going to
We're gonna
start.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to start October the 1st through October 31st or whatever, that's fine. They just need a date of start.
Okay. Find out the stipulations on these things too, about how the cleanliness of them, if they're not.
They have to
mud.
be clean, they cannot have any rims in them, they
Okay.
cannot be any dirt in them, they have to be free of debris, water, etc.
Okay, good deal.
And Zach, you're okay with us having, you've been involved in the process, you've got personnel that can help us do the inventory and keep up with the paperwork on that? Okay.
Good deal. Go for the grant.
Good.
So costs, that's what I'm concerned with.
Cost, I got a price today, today, to carry them out of the county, $1,450 per 1,000. One trailer can haul 900 to 1,000 tires at a time, and $1,450 per 1,000. And that's an estimate that the $1,450 is firm, but they can get 900 to 1,000 tires, I'm sure, based on the size of the tires in the trucks. And it may even be cheaper than that, but they said it would be at least $1,450. So if we have 6,000 that we're taking out, I estimated $8,700, and that was what I was going to put on the grant application. The only other thing I need to know is when would y'all like for that to be done? Is there a certain time?
Okay. You were suggesting October 1st, Commissioner Sotheby?
What Marie suggested, I think.
I mean, I
I'm
just
good
put
with
That's
that
a good
out.
time in October. Yeah,
I'm good with
really.
that.
Be a good time to do it.
What
I
say
don't
you,
know what
Commissioner?
size trailers they have, but I usually got 17 to 1,800 on the trailer when I was loaded down there. So.
40-foot trailer, they told me.
A what now?
A 40-foot trailer.
Good, okay.
So we can apply for up to 2 of these grants a year.
I mean, we can call this one the fall grant, the fall
Maybe
scrap
another
tire
in the
grant, and
spring.
then one in the spring. Yes, sir.
Any in between, I guess, what Commissioner Sotheby's talking about is having a place to maybe us work out some more people can get rid of them. That's what
Yeah,
we're
get
talking
rid of
about.
them. I mean, people generate these things on a daily basis because I haul my own up there, but most people, a lot of people won't take them with them. And you can't say you can't do it because it's something they already own. It's kind of hard to take it away from them. and who knows where they go when they leave. So,
So the entire grant, I mean, most of the county's gonna incur is $8,000
for 6,000 tires.
for 6,000 tires on this grant.
If that's how many tires we have, yes, sir.
But if we have 12,000, that's what I'm asking. Does this grant only pertain to top 6,000 tires is what they're gonna?
Well, that's what I'm asking for in this particular grant.
Okay.
We can do another one. So, I mean, if we have the storage capacity, we can hold those tires and then apply in the spring and get rid of those.
Okay.
But before, when I did the grant, I mean, I didn't think there was gonna be maybe 2,000 tires. It wound up being 8,000 tires. So we don't know the number of tires that's out there at people's homes. I know I have a list of about 8 roads that have tires that I know about. And they may be 5, they may be 25. But I know there's about 8 or 10 roads that have tires that's listed on.
Well, you are limiting, the number of tires to 10 tires per day, which means, if someone's trying to kind of abuse the process, we're going to be able to stop that, nip that in the bud. So I like what I see here on this. I'm all ready to go on it.
So I believe I can have the application finished. I just need to put in the carrier's name, and I believe I need a signature from you, Chairman.
Okay. I can do
Or I
that.
can sign off on it,
Yeah.
whatever you authorize.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Thank you, Ms. Woody. Okay. All right. Next department head, our Public Works, Mr. Zach Ratcliffe. Zach, come on down. We're okay if you shout into the microphone tonight, is that?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
All right, guys. I'm requesting a mower. We're getting in some, this weather's killing us on mowers, and we've had quite a bit of downtime with our mowers. We've got one that's running, I think it's probably an 80 model Massey Ferguson of all things. But we've had a lot of downtime with this, so I'm asking that we might request a new mower. This is kind of basic stuff. I took Stan down there, and he and I looked at it. It's basic, but it's 4-wheel drive, and it'll pull the mower that we've got out there that we should put behind it.
It's an open cab, so if somebody runs in the yellow jacket, they get stung, well, they can move on.
Yeah, they can move on.
Good thing. They'll mow a lot faster
Oh, yeah.
when they're scared of yellow
Yeah,
jackets.
try that one, yeah. I think it's a 47 horsepower, something like that. It's big enough to handle. And you see the price on it, $21,150.
And this is a state contract price. We get a special price from the state on
Exactly. It's
it.
under a contract price.
Yeah.
You done got 2 tractors out there, right?
Yep. The transmissions.
You got 2 brand new bush hogs we purchased a year ago.
Yeah. So we're ready to buy that already. We're good for that.
Got it. Just 4-wheeler, it is 4-wheeler, right?
It is 4-wheel.
We need it, so I make a motion we get it.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Okay.
What about our long arms? Well, we got both of them working?
Yes, sir, both of them's working.
Really?
Yeah. Of course, they'll be working one day and down the next.
Well, that's true, they got some eggs in them.
Yes, sir, they have.
I think next year we need to put that in budget next year, we're not gonna get it in.
Okay. I'd like to bring you guys up to speed on where we're at with triple surface. We have just a couple roads to play. We've done South Oasis. We got a little section. We actually use that as a trial, kind of like training here. And we do have Shelford, section beside the river, the low section beside the river. We actually got it.
These were the folks that were having, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
These were across the river in that area, folks were really having dust problems, where they were a group of them in here last year.
I realize
or
there's
earlier
more
this
traffic
year.
up there. We'll kind of work one day and you'll see what it's all about. It's unbelievable. Yeah, we're coming along. Guys got all their acts together pretty good this thing, and they're averaging about 1,500 feet a day on both sides. So they're
Wow.
moving along pretty good. So,
More efficient, more cost
oh,
efficient.
yeah, and fast. I mean, really, you couldn't do asphalt like
Machine working good.
that. Oh, it is. It's coming together.
And if anyone really hasn't seen or what he's talking about, it's the old tar and gravel, but it's kind of a, I don't know, aesthetically, I guess you could say, it really looks nice out in these rural areas. And it's really helping on the dust control issues and just the overall wear and tear on vehicles as people go in and out. It's really pretty phenomenal. And this is something you really have been doing for quite some time, Commissioner Johnson, in your private business. And you know, your suggestions and innovativeness and help us get going on that, I think, is really going to help the county a lot with that. So I'm just glad to see it in action.
I am too.
Okay.
It's going good.
All right, very good. And you've got another project in line.
I do. But we're actually starting on Drive Ranch in the morning.
That's about 1.3 miles through there, and that's a heavily trafficked area. And it's in between two paved areas.
Right.
It's out by the Forest Service
Right.
area, out by the green.
In the walking track out there.
Yeah. That's going to be a big improvement out through that area to do that. So that's going to make a lot of folks happy.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Eddie O'Neill, you still here, Eddie?
Just a quick overview of what we're into. We're into the last 2 weeks of summer day camp, and at the end of that, we'll have a youth fishing camp that we'll run. We'll take about 20 kids on that, about what we can carry, bus load of kids and the gear. Fall sports season started. Football started Monday. We have 147 kids. I think that's the most participation in football.
Wow.
In the last 5 years. So we've actually building a team from 6-year-olds through 7th grade. So we're pretty excited about that. And, a great turnout of kids. Fall soccer starts in 3 weeks. So we will be full bore with fall sports. River Parks, I spoke with TVA, Mr. Jerry Faust. They've agreed to purchase about $14,000 worth of animal-proof trash cans. They've ordered those, they'll have them shipped to us, and we'll disperse that between Tammany, Horseshoe Bend, and the Curtis Switch Park. So appreciate that from those guys also. So we should have those in about the next 3 weeks, and we'll get that dispersed. Just a couple of requests. I was contacted by the Kiwanis Club. They've asked about, do we have any bleachers that, you know, we plan on auctioning off or bidding off. We do have 2 large sets that are on the football field. They're large bleachers. They're about 30 feet long. I don't know, they're 10 or 12 rungs. They're not used. The football field, as some of you may not know, it's just a practice field for us. All of our games since the high school went to turf, we let the kids play on the high school field on Saturday. So I would propose, you know, those guys gave us $35,000 worth of playground equipment. Maybe we could do $1 a year lease on those bleachers. If we need them back, they would be there, but they would be in use.
Basically, just like a permanent loan, just like
this type of a permanent loan deal. It's nothing we're using. They're so large you could never put them on a baseball or softball field. Obviously, would never fit inside the gym. You know, they're just sitting there not being used, and they have they do have a need to use those at the fairgrounds for different events.
I think the Kiwanis have been very good to us in your department, particularly with some of the cooperation, and I think if by any means if we can reciprocate with them and do something that's favorable. Ken, $1 a year, is that you guys should go for that?
I think you'll want to talk to Kevin Painter about it, because I think he actually wants to fully purchase them from him.
Well, I mean, whatever way you guys want to do that, but you know, I would think a permanent loan, if we're covered on liability and.
The problem is if you sell them, then you have to declare them as surplus, and you have to go through different options, bid procedures, but you can lease equipment on a permanent basis or semi-permanent basis that doesn't require that.
It's, in other words, it's pretty cumbersome. I mean, we're required if we sell something to go through a process, and not that I'm against trying to get money for the county on selling something, but in this case, I mean, we're talking about, you know, you guys give us value in, and we're trying to give you value back. And these gentlemen have their own opinions about this, of course, but I'm certainly in favor if the most economical way to do this is to do a very, very small amount, token amount, to give you the ability to control that and use it for the purposes that we've talked about here. So, I mean, if you guys want to go through that purchase process, I mean, I'm open to that, but it seems to me like if we're willing to offer you something because of your, obviously a great thing in the community, if Kiwanis are, that I'm certainly on my behalf willing to bend over backwards to work with you. How do you gentlemen feel about
I
this?
agree with you.
We can't just sell county equipment, so if that's what his plan is, it won't work, so.
I'm sure he's open to anything. I'm sure the long-term leasing would be fine also.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they said you guys were leasing them and it was up to $3,000 a pop when you were leasing. These leases are large and new, they're over $30,000 a set.
Right.
Aluminum bleachers are outrageously expensive.
So are you commissioners okay with us doing something, even a token amount, $1 a year lease for the Kiwanis to use those bleachers?
Yes, I'm in favor of the $1 a year lease.
Okay.
We can't out and out sell them.
Right. Well,
Yeah, I'm good with it.
I'll speak with those guys.
okay, I'll make a motion that we do that, since it is a fee and we have to vote on fees. $1 a year lease, and I'll make that motion. Do I hear a second? All in favor? Okay, Eddie, that gives you the latitude to wheel and deal.
Okay.
Maybe you can get them up to $2.
I just have one other issue, and this has been discussed with the rec board. Currently, we do charge a $5 non-resident usage fee to use the gym courts. The walking track is free to everyone. We do have a lot of kids from Copper Basin that want to come and shoot basketball and do those things, and they do pay those fees. And we have it. You know, the elderly people like to come and play pickleball, and we go through all that. What we've talked about doing is maybe doing something like a $250 annual fee that can be split in half, and they can pay it $125 for 6 months, another $125 to do the $250. Make it more affordable, you know, for those guys that want to use it a lot, you know, because there are people that use it quite a bit that are not in county. But, you know, the rec board and I, we would be fine with that if you guys are fine with that. And we would just issue out membership cards and track that information.
So you're really not changing the fee, you're just breaking up?
We're just making the fee, we're breaking it up, but, you know, if you've done $5 a day and played 300 times, obviously, you know, we lose money there.
Right.
But, you know, it just makes it. I really hate it that the young teenage kids that are close to us, you know,
Well,
pay those fees, but we're fine anyway. But it's just a recommendation to get that money up front and not have to chase people every night for $5 a night.
That's what happens when you pay state income tax. You have bills like we have. I don't.
It's not just, it is
great, and I think it needs to be done for a long time. Some sort of card or ID.
Right.
Because I would say it'd be very hard for every time someone comes to our facility.
It is hard, especially with the night shift when we're gone. You know, they're chasing folks down and going through all of that stuff.
that'll simplify some.
It would simplify, and it would be so many less,
Yeah.
you know, transactions in a system of $5 a pop every day, and it's the same people, you know, all the time. It's just transaction after transaction after transaction.
I like
It's
it.
tedious.
I like that idea. You gentlemen, what do you say?
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody makes cards with it, yeah.
Now, yeah, you know, I've heard several complaints, you know, people complain about it, but what they don't understand, it is a cost to the county to maintain those floors.
Yes.
And when they start using those floors, it is a cost to every, you know, the taxpayers of Fannin County don't need to be paying, you know, so I'm in full agreement with the fee. And I think that's a simpler way of doing it.
I'm almost betting you'll collect more money doing it this way than you were before.
I'm certain that's a problem.
Okay.
But we are doing a better job of collecting it day and night to make it fair.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve that program. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Go get them.
that's all I have.
All right.
Thank
Thank you.
How's our guy doing on the cleanup and mowing?
He is doing better. He struggles. Horseshoe Bend is so busy, they struggle with moving people out of the way. So I've talked to him about changing hours or times, you know, to make sure. Obviously, you don't want to sling rocks and hit visitors and do all those things. Horseshoe Bend, and I've been out there a lot lately, it's unbelievable the traffic in that park. We have had some issues with animals. I've had several phone calls of people walking animals off of the leash and stuff like that. So I've talked to Zach and those guys about updating some signage. Maybe just some new signage will help, you know, refresh and look at it. But that place is unbelievable, the traffic that is in that park.
I was out there several times over the holidays, over the weekends, and I thought it was in excellent shape. And I talked to a number of people out there that were picnicking and asked them what they thought, if it was clean. And I had nothing but positive input back to these folks. So.
And we are sending, like on the 4th of July, you know, we do send somebody out there if we've got an employee that's got some hours they need to do, we'll send them out. You know, the trash is a big part. When you lease the pavilions 6 times in one day, you know, in 2 or 3 hour increments, and there's 3 parties, you can imagine what the trash cans look like after the first party, and then the people coming behind those guys. So trash is really, you know, so we've got people during the busy times. The 4th, we've done it over the 4th. We sent somebody out to go Saturday afternoon to pick up the trash. You know, Sunday afternoon, go check the trash, just to try to keep that up out of everybody's way also. But right now, the animals, you know, I've had probably 3 phone calls in the last month about people turning dogs loose on the leash, you know, unleashing them and letting them run.
So the signs are for the people, they're not for the animals, right?
That's right.
Do you have a dog-friendly sign that they can read and understand? Because that's the only complaints I've had, especially at a Horseshoe Bend Park, is people,
Yes.
you know, if their dog makes a mess, you think they clean it up, but a lot of people, you know, they don't, and that's the only complaints I've heard out of Horseshoe Bend is.
That's right.
Is
Yeah,
that.
that is an issue also, you know, cleaning up the mess. But, you know, the lady that called, the guy had a big German Shepherd running loose, and, you know, didn't hurt the kid, run up in the kid's face and scared her. You know, the animal should have been on the leash, but, you know, it's so busy, it's hard to police that thing, you know, all the time.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Eddie. I don't have anything else unless you gentlemen do. Okay. All right, Ms. Gasaway.
Hopefully I can be heard. I have a request to change the accounting software. Currently, we're using Harris. I know we just made a change to the software. I'm just having a lot of issues with it.
This change was made last year.
Yes. Actually, it's about a 1.5-year process that they've done it. Part of the expense was paid in 2015, and the rest of it was paid in 2016. I have been debating this myself because I just didn't want to spend the money and make the changes. But I've looked at the bills so far this year. We have spent over $20,000 this year alone on training because they charge for everything.
$20,000 on training
Yes.
this year.
And we've already paid $12,000 for the maintenance agreement. So it's over
Wow.
$30,000 that we've paid in addition to the software, to this Harris company. And I just don't see it changing. I don't see it stopping, and it's just a huge cost. And the bid that I've gotten from the other software company is less than what we paid for Harris, it's about the $20,000. Plus their maintenance fee is only $5,000 a year. So technically within 4 years, 4.5 years, I can pay for the new software off of their maintenance agreement that we have to pay every year. Like I said, when we hired a person, I submitted a request to get them a login information. They were gone before I got the login information. And about a week after they were gone, I got the login information, and I sent them an email back, and I said, no point, cancel this, they're gone. You know, because it took them that long to respond to me. And any software issues I've had, it's taken 2 to 3 weeks to get them to complete it. Like on the budget reports, they just, you know, it was the report that I needed to give everybody to do the request. And it took them almost 3 weeks to figure out what was going on and why it wasn't working.
So your response time, customer service, all that's pretty abysmal?
Yeah. I've talked to the gentleman there. There was also a software that was bought, a payroll, and I guess the intention was to maybe bring the payroll back in-house. And we're not using it, we're still using our third party, so I'm hoping to get about $6,000 back on that. They have agreed to that, we just haven't received the check yet.
What is this software going to allow you to do that the current software would not do?
Technically, really nothing. I mean,
Okay.
it's the only difference basically that there is that when I call this new company, they will help us. Their response time is within 24 hours, and they don't charge extra for it. You know, it's within the $5,000 maintenance agreement, everything is included, no matter how many times we call.
Okay. And this is going to help us with our financial reports that we're going to start doing every month here to be able to drill down and pull that, extract that information out and show it here to the
Yeah, they actually have an Excel add-in that you can actually do all the PowerPoint type presentations and stuff like that too.
Okay.
That's just an added
Who
bonus.
did you use in Union County?
This, the people that I got this quote for, it's
Who are
Excel. They're out of Utah. And actually the only ever problem I had, and actually I never had a problem with it, the only potential problem I had thought of is the fact that they're 2 hours difference. But I never had an issue with it, not there. We had them the whole time that I was there, the whole 12 years.
So just time change, 2 hours
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
And, you know, but usually if I come in and I had an issue, it's through the internet, you know, I'd email them, tell them that I had an issue.
Okay.
And as soon as they got in that morning at 10 o'clock, they called me.
So we're talking $20,000 and you potentially can recover $6,000
Well,
from
it's $32,000.
32.
$32,000 for the software. I'm hoping to get $6,225 back, you know, on the other software, hopefully. And then, like I said, over a period of 4.5 years, with the difference in the maintenance cost, we can recoup all the costs, actually.
Well, I've seen you struggle along with this for as long as you've been here, and we weren't happy with it. I wasn't happy with it, but you made up your own mind, and I feel like that's the right direction to go, is to change that and get something that we can work with. I think we've got a $27 million a year budget, and we need to have the best information that we can extract from those numbers. It's just too important to let something like software foul us up.
And they did say that they work with us, that we do have money in the budget to do part of this. And they said that they will defer the rest of the cost till next year, so we can put it in our budget for next year.
Okay.
So we won't have a budget issue problem.
Okay. I like that idea. What say you, gentlemen? I like the sound of getting away from whatever we got. Any thoughts, Commissioner Johnson?
So there's no difference, other than the technical help, at some point are we not gonna get educated on the new software? I mean, my only problem with it is we just spent a lot of money on it.
I agree,
And now
wholeheartedly I
we're-
agree.
I mean, it was a lot of money.
Well, the thing I get is that with Cassell, if I need a change in a report, they do that under the maintenance agreement. There's no additional cost. But with Harris, when I asked them to help me with the budget, and it just changed, the report was the same, just changed the percentage from a change in the budget years to a change in the budget to actual, to do that percentage. They told me they would charge me a couple $1,000s to do that. And
I mean, is
I
that
said, is
much?
this not under our maintenance agreement? And they said, no, that's in the change in the report. And they were gonna charge me, I told them not to do it.
But
I just
Harris,
told them to do it.
doesn't Harris do most every government, I mean, they're
They
not
do
a
the tax
small.
office and they do, you know, most of the tax office
So
and
can we
stuff.
not, has anyone tried to negotiate with them on any of this before we spend another 32,000?
I have tried to talk to them numerous times. And again, it would take me 2 weeks to even get an answer back from them on anything. And then they'd have to call me back because they couldn't answer my question. Like I said, I just, you know, I have seriously tried to, you know, work with them and try to work with them this whole time because I didn't want to make this cost or this change because we just changed. It's a pain. And I've just come to the conclusion that we can keep throwing money at it, and that's what I didn't want to do.
Didn't Harris the one that made the big glitch in the, Nicholson situation when they opened down the, few years ago when the tax assessor were gone?
I would not know that.
I think so. Okay.
I've seen you struggle along with this with a supplier that's not performing, and I'm ready to dump them. So I'll make a motion that we do this. Do I hear a second?
Robin thinks that's what we need. I'll second.
Second. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Motion carries 2 with Commissioner Johnson voting no. Anything else, Mr. Gasoline?
Oh, nope, that's it.
Okey-doke. All right. Okay, let's move on to item number 10, the consent agenda. These were the items that we had from our workshop at the fire department, talking about future needs and paying for them out of our estimated 6-year SPLOST collections. And I think we gave everyone a copy of this as you came in to see what items we wanted to do on the consent agenda. I don't know if I need to go back over these again. They all, we had item 2, provide funding. This was, would be addressed at a later time to complete the ad alternate inside the new public safety complex. And then the other item, number 6, was station number 5, the Epworth station. This was contingent upon whether the facility could support running water and restrooms. Those were the only 2 items on our consent agenda that we didn't really agree on. So other than that, I'd like to make a motion that we approve our consent agenda and move forward with that. Any discussion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, opposed? None. Karen will move that forward on our consent agenda. I'm sure the fire department will be real happy to know the things we voted on tonight here. Okay. Do we need executive session, gentlemen?
Nope.
Okay. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Second. All in favor? Meeting is concluded. Thank you folks for coming. I'm sorry.